Do you call yourself a girl's girl? Do you hype up your friends, show up when it matters, defend women you don't even know in the comment sections? Because I do. And here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud: you cannot be a girl's girl if you are not a feminist. Hi muses, welcome back to my channel where we talk about how women can have their cake and eat it too. I'm your host Nadeen, and I'm here to rebuild the village women once had so we can have the right conversations and create lives that feel as good as it looks. Please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Before you roll your eyes at me, before you tap out, before you say, oh my God, Nadeen, I did not come here for this, I need you to stick with me, because what I'm about to say is not a hot take. It is not man-hating. It is not angry for no reason. It is a reckoning. Feminism is the lens through which I create the content I create, and it needs to be the foundation of how you build your life as a woman, especially when you care about leveling up, relationships, friendships, and creating a life that fully supports you. I think a lot of us have been handed a broken definition, so let's start from how I first started understanding all of this. So as always, we don't gatekeep, so let's step into it. Somewhere along the way, feminism got twisted into this idea of radical sameness. It felt like the goal was for women to become more like men, and so we started acting like them, competing with them, splitting every bill down the middle, refusing help as if it threatened our independence, trying to prove that we can do everything they can do and do it even better. The landscape of I don't need a man and men are trash. And look, from a woman who has been hurt by men, I get how that can feel empowering or even powerful to get to that place of personal sovereignty, but that was never the point. Feminism isn't about being the same as men or going 50-50, nor is it about reducing men and their masculinity. It never was, because you cannot divide existence into equal columns and call it equity. Pregnancy is not split down the middle. Childbirth is not split down the middle. The physical and emotional weight of being a woman in this world, in today's society, the safety concerns, the health risks, the periods, the mental load, the invisible labor that keeps every home running, the expectations of perfection, the standards of beauty, none of that is equally distributed. So when a man demands a 50-50, what they're actually demanding is equal financial contribution while still expecting all of the benefits of being with a woman, usually pointing to a lot of unrecognized and unpaid labor. He splits the rent, but he says he loves your cooking, so you cook all the time. He's busy with work, and so are you, but you do the laundry and you clean because you want to show your love and care. He helps when you ask, but never self-motivated. You manage the social calendar. You remind him of his parents' birthdays. You're coordinating the gifts. You're reminding him to book his health appointments, to take his vitamins. You're carrying the mental load and still expected to look good doing it. I don't care what anyone says. That is exploitation with top-tier branding. But don't get me wrong, there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing things for the people you love. Feminism doesn't tell you to not do that. It doesn't tell you to do everything yourself. It doesn't tell you to hold back your love. But it is about the unpaid labor being acknowledged, the mental load being seen, and the emotional work being valued. It is about support when it's needed, a voice to express and to be heard without punishment, and the space to choose your life and grow without backlash or deliberate suppression. It is about walking home at night without running through an exit strategy in your head, or saying no firmly without plastering on a fake smile, worrying about being on the receiving end of violent anger. And the core principle is that a woman does not need to be like a man in order to deserve respect, dignity, and autonomy. That is feminism. Now, I want to be very clear about something, because this is where people get it twisted. Dismantling the patriarchy is not an attack on healthy masculinity. The patriarchy corrupts men and hurt men too. It tells them that vulnerability is weak, that asking for help is failure, that valuing women is embarrassing, that their worth is entirely tied to what they can provide, produce, dominate, or how much they can kiss another man's ass. The patriarchy damages men too. It just does so more quietly. And to dismantle a hierarchical system built by men for men, it's not about proving who is the more superior or stronger gender and fighting about it. The divide is what creates friction and hate. It's about giving women the freedom to choose their own path without a man in the middle deciding for us what we should or shouldn't do. My dad actually recently moved in with us, and I am so beyond happy and deeply grateful for that. There's a lot of history that maybe one day I'll share more about, but there's definitely a lot of lost time between us. So having him here having that father-daughter time again, it means more to me than I really know how to express. My dad has always been very loving and doting. That's just how he is. I'm his baby girl. However, as a grown woman now, I catch myself arguing with him a lot because my dad carries a lot of deeply traditional views on gender roles and he cannot stand my relationship dynamic. My fiance is very much provider minded, not because I asked him to be, but because that's just who he is. Okay. He doesn't like me doing chores because he thinks it's dirty. I still help. He doesn't want me spending my own money if he can handle it because he wants me to save what's mine, invest and grow our wealth for our future. He absolutely holds me with this gentleness that everyone around us notices. My dad watches this, and instead of being grateful that his daughter is well loved, he openly lectures me, telling me to cook more, to clean more, to serve more. And I really had to look him dead in the eyes, the first man to ever show me what love meant, and say, "Sir, you are talking to the wrong woman. If you mess up what we have built here, if my fiance changes because of your presence, I will not be marrying this man, and you will be the reason. I chose this man for me, not for you, not for tradition, not to perform femininity for an audience." And to all the women who are watching, I absolutely meant every word I said. And that right there is feminism in action. The freedom to choose, the freedom to build a dynamic that works for you and your partner without external pressure, without judgment, without someone else's idea of who you should be overriding your own definition. And also being so secure and confident in yourself that you know you will be okay even without a man if that's just not in the cards for you. My dad was shaped by a world that told him his definition was love. I understand that, but it is still my job and only my job to define what love looks like for me in my home. And here's where I might lose some of you, and I'm completely okay with that. When women talk about their experiences with men, generalizing, venting, saying things like "I hate men" after yet another disappointment, men lose their minds. They call it misandry. They say it's the same as misogyny. They say reverse sexism is real and we're being hypocrites. Misogyny is violent, literally. Misogyny is femicide. It's domestic violence. It is rape culture. It is women being offed by the men who claim to love them. It is the systemic, institutionalized, historically rooted oppression that has been legislated, enforced, and normalized across almost every civilization for thousands of years. Misandry excommunicates. Women saying men are trash on TikTok after being cheated on, gaslit, or abused is not the same thing. That does not strip men of rights. That does not put men in physical danger. That does not pass legislations against men. That does not get men killed. And I get it. It's not all men, but it is always a man. Every woman you know has a story. A father who made her feel small, a teacher who talked over her, a boyfriend who controlled her, a boss who made a move on her, a stranger who made her feel unsafe in a space she had every right to be in. We aren't generalizing out of nowhere. We are pattern matching from lived experience. Let me bring this into something that happened recently and disappointed a lot of us. Both the US women's and men's Olympic hockey teams got gold medals this Winter Olympics. During the locker room celebration, the US men's Olympic hockey team laughed at a very odd comment made by our president at the expense of the women's hockey team.
We'll do the White House the next day. We'll just have some fun. We have medals for you guys. And we have to, I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that.
I am not one who is overly sensitive about things people say if I understand that the intention wasn't bad, even if it may be ignorant. But very obviously, how the president phrased what he said came off negatively. He didn't say, "I'd love to invite the men's hockey team to the White House and celebrate. Of course, we're going to invite the women's team as well. You all did fantastic." He specifically said, I have to invite the women's team as well, otherwise I'm going to get impeached or something. As if he doesn't want to, but is obligated to. And all the guys laughed. And you'll see people defend the men's hockey team. Even some of the women's team players themselves defended them and said how the men's team have been so supportive throughout the Olympics, how great of a relationship the teams have, etc., etc. But this is exactly why it was so upsetting. A lot of women have had this experience. A man who is polite, respectful, kind, funny, thoughtful in front of your face, championing you in front of an audience. And then you find out behind closed doors that when he's just with his boys, he is someone else entirely. So their public support actually made this worse because now it just looks like it was a performance for optics. They don't understand why the women are upset because men genuinely believe that they get to treat women any way they want and be as bigoted and misogynistic as they want and expect women to still want to be with them, to still present them with our undying love and devotion. And you know why? It's because some women think it's okay. And this part, I do need to call out women and hold us accountable, not to shame us, not to blame us for what's been done to us, but because I love women so completely and so fiercely that I refuse to be soft about this. There are women who know exactly what I'm talking about. They have watched men be sexist, disrespectful, rude, dismissive, and they still convince themselves that this is okay. And a lot of that, comes from how we were raised, from fathers who modeled what a woman should tolerate, from mothers who taught us to keep quiet or laugh it off, from a culture that taught us our value was wrapped up in our ability to be chosen. We did not choose our parents. We did not choose how we were raised. And yes, woe is me if we were dealt a shorthand. I see you, I really do. But it is still our responsibility to heal, because if we don't, we carry the pattern forward. We normalize it for our daughters. We hand it to the next generation wrapped in the same packaging it came to us in. So I say this with love. You cannot be a girl's girl and keep propping up men who hate women. These two things cannot coexist. And you know what? I see that the women have had enough. The data is clear. Women are less interested in romantic relationships with men altogether. Women would rather be single moms or give up having kids, even though some of us desire families and want to experience motherhood. And the men are upset about it with zero reflection or accountability as to why. You can draw a straight line from the sexism and misogyny that women are exposed to women's declining interest in marriage and men. We no longer need men to survive. Financially, emotionally, professionally. We have built lives of our own, even though it's only been about 50 years that we were allowed to have our own bank accounts and have a credit card under our name. Can you believe that? It's only been 50 years? 50 years of us building our own wealth as a collective. And guess what? When you no longer need something or someone to survive, you start asking yourself whether they're actually making your life better or making it harder. And if the answer is harder, if the trade-off is tolerating misogyny and disrespect, if you have to explain and prove your worth, if you have to perform femininity on demand and manage someone else's ego on top of your own ambitions, a lot of women are saying, no, thank you. And I want to be honest about this too. We still crave love. We still crave relationships. We still want someone with us at home and to have a family with. We're not made of stone, but this is kind of where things have gotten to. We're not performing indifference, but almost cornered to being this way because there's no better alternative. But thankfully, we're also not lonely without men because women have doubled down on building friendships and communities. The group chats, the girls' trips, the inside jokes, showing up at midnight with a bottle of wine and zero questions. These are not consolation prizes. This is a full, rich, supported, and well-lived life. And men should be terrified of that, not because women are the op, but because they are now competing with the peace women have found within themselves and the realization that we deserve to be truly chosen and devoted to. So if men want to spew misogynistic prose online, on their podcasts, yippity yap in the locker rooms, okay, fine. Then you no longer get to have good women in your lives, period. It is what it is. So can you be a girl's girl if you're not a feminist? I don't think so. Because being a girl's girl isn't just showing up for your friends. It's understanding the world your friends are navigating and recognizing the systems that were built to make their lives smaller. It's refusing to participate in a culture that hurts all of us. Feminism was never about hating men or not needing men. It is learning to love women enough, to love yourself enough, to demand something better. And understanding that the liberation and love for women is the liberation and love for everyone else, men included. That's all the cake I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I appreciate it so much. I know today's episode is a little heavier and kind of different from the usual, but I felt like it was important to talk about this because these are some of the deeper topics that I think about all the time, and it's important to share this with you women as well. So if you enjoyed our chat today, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment because I would love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next episode.